Hi guys, so what we wanted to do is give you a new how-to guide. Many years ago we completed one on what to check on a Figaro just to help you out with some additional costs that we're finding that people bring to us with their Figaro. So Figaros are due an MOT like any other vehicle every year, and we just want to give you some tips what to check before bringing it in for an MOT. So a lot of these Figaros tend to sit around obviously across the winter periods and things like that, so there's some very basic checks that you as the owners can do prior to bringing it in for an MOT to stop these failures. So come on in and take a little look at what we've got. So the first thing that we'd advise to do is check the tyres. So on here you want to be looking for the tread itself to make sure that they're not bowled and there's plenty of tread on there. The second thing we want to do is be checking around these side walls and inside the tread for some cracking. Now this is perishing of the actual tyre, and this is normally due to age of the tyre or whether it's been stationary for a long period of time. What we then want to do is for you to check all your lights. So it's very simple. You can possibly get your partner or a friend to stand behind the vehicle and just go through the cycle of the lights. So your side lights, your normal dipped lights, your high beam, your indicators, your brake lights. So on a Figaro you have 3 brake lights, obviously one in the central, your reversing light, and lastly your fog light. A fog light is something that is an addition on all Figaros, so they don't come with them from factory. They should have had them fitted when they came to the UK, and it needs to be a bright red light. We see lots of Figaros that come in and it looks like a candle light in there and very, very dim. This will unfortunately fail. The next bit we've got is actually the wipers. So if you come and take a little look, the wipers we want to be checking to make sure there's no splitting or perishing, that they're not falling apart. Paired with that, we also have these, which are your washer jets. So these work off the wiper stalk, and obviously when you pull the lever you should have screen wash that comes out of here onto the windscreen. If you don't have that happen, it can be that these are either blocked, or if you have a little look inside the bonnet, we've actually got on the driver's side what we call the actual screen wash tank. Make sure it's got fluid in there, and if there's fluid in there and it's still not working, it could be that the washer jet pump has now failed. If you then come round to the rear wheel arches, what we're then looking for is any additional sharp edges. So around this, you can see on this one it's very clean and nice and neat. But if you've got rust coming through, what they're looking for is sharp edges. That also goes in line with the actual bumpers. Many of you will see that these bumpers rust out, and over the years they can become sharp. That will also become an MOT failure. So we have some basic checks inside that we need to look at. So the first one being the seat belts. So we need to make sure that, most importantly, that these actually come out and retract. Figaro seat belts are very common just to stay here, in which will become an MOT failure. So as you see, simple, pull it out, release it, and you'll see it retracts nice and neat. We then need to look at the handbrake. So on here, we just need to make sure that we have 3 to 4 clicks and it comes to a halt. If you're having to 10, 11 or excessive travel, that can mean that there's some either adjustment problem or the handbrake's not working correctly. We give the horn a little buzz just to make sure the horn works, as that is also an MOT failure. And then very lastly, all we need to do is open the bonnet and just do some very remedial checks inside for fluids. So if we open up the bonnet, we need to be checking some items in here. So the first one is the oil dipstick. So this is located towards the front of the engine. As you pull this out, there is an indicator on it, and it will show you a minimum and a maximum oil level. We ideally need to be at the full, but around about half is absolutely fine. We've spoken about the screen wash. This one here is for your power steering. So if you hear your steering is getting slightly more grindy or noisy, need to make sure that this twists and opens up and that you've got fluid in here. We then have the brake fluid, which is right next to it, which is this one here. And again, it has a level indicator on it to make sure you're okay. We then have the radiator. Unfortunately, the car's been running, so it's quite warm. We need to be checking this when it's cold, and that is that we undo this radiator cap and make sure the coolant is to the top. It won't come right to the brim, but if you can see the core inside the radiator, then that needs topping up. All of this will give you some basic checks on to make sure that your car is legal, and when it comes to MOT will pass. There is some other bits of rust on the underside and some bushes that get checked, but these are some basic checks for you to be able to make sure. If you're still unsure on if your car's going to pass its MOT, please give us a call in the workshop. You can either call me directly, so I'm the business manager here, or you can call our workshop manager. We also do lots of other things here, and we also do lots of other how-to guides, so please take a look through our library. If there's something that you guys want that's not in our listing, please contact us to give us some idea what you would like.